Weird science
is the revolution.
Hello, you weirdos. Jim here, and I know that everybody loves that Ultimate Universe, so I thought I'd pop in here and talk a little bit about what is coming up in June, because the June solicits for Marvel have dropped today. So I figured that this is kind of breaking news, and the idea of some things pointed out in these solicits that might get some people excited for some books that maybe they weren't excited, or maybe actually get more angry. I don't know, but here's the headline. New teams, new X-Men, and more coming to the Ultimate Universe in June. And this is also from a press release Marvel sent out to let people know, check out these solicits, check out these Ultimate books. I think that is a line that's doing fairly well, but I think they want it to do better, maybe even pointing out some things here about a certain little book that people want it more and more from, but it's not exactly what they might have been thinking, but we'll talk about that in a second. But as I said, this is directly from the press release, misspellings and poor grammar included. Marvel Comics' new Ultimate Comics line launched last year. It's funny when they say that, because most people, listening may have just jumped on with the Ultimate Spider-Man, not quite the Ultimate Invasion and Universe stuff, which I may have a video about sometime down the line. But it says, and with each issue, fans have experienced the breathtaking mystery, unpredictable excitement, and bold storytelling that this new universe holds. Carefully crafted and controlled by the maker as a world without superheroes, this familiar yet unusual world is now free from its shadowy origins. Iconic heroes are taking up their mantles, fresh conflicts are erupting, surprising bonds are being forged. And things are only getting started. Right now, get a sneak peek at what's to come with the cover reveals for June's 4 Ultimate issues. And yes, 4 titles, because we're going to get a new #1 in June in Deniz and JUAN Frigeri's Ultimates #1. Witness the reimagining of one of Marvel's greatest and most influential superhero teams. This key chapter of the overarching narrative that began in Jonathan Hickman and Stefano Caselli's Ultimate Universe #1 sees an all-new Ultimates team assemble. 6 months ago, Tony Stark sent Peter Parker a radioactive spider to set him back on the course to become Spider-Man. Since then, Iron Lad, Stark, Captain America, Doom, Thor, and Sif have begun to do the same thing for other lost heroes, building a network of superpowered heroes hungry for change. Now they must band together to destroy the Maker's Council and restore freedom and free will to a world ruled from the shadows. And that's one of the things, again, when these books came out, a lot of people weren't actually involved until they heard what the Ultimate Spider-Man was going. I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people just jumped on and just wanted a good Spider-Man book. And I don't blame them, because we weren't really getting one. So you end up, they jump on. Okay, let's check out the Black Panther. Oh, this seems kind of normal. I can get into this. And then Pete Momoko's X-Men came out, and then it kind of hit them by surprise of, where's the X-Men? This is called X-Men. And everybody has their opinion. And I have talked with people, quote unquote talk, maybe argued, but not really. And the idea that a lot of people have some really, really good points about why they don't like the Peach Momoko X-Men. I like it, but again, some people, if you're going to go in thinking you're going to get a traditional X-Men book, you're going to be upset about it. And I think that Marvel may have made a bit of a mistake with that. But in this, they're going to point out that there's going to be more X-Men coming down the line, in a way that it makes it feel like it's more of a Runaways book, even the way that they play it out. Maybe they could have framed it differently. But before we get to that, we have to continue this. Jonathan Hickman and Marco Checchetto present the shocking conclusion of their opening arc in Ultimate Spider-Man #6. Spider-Man must finally confront the head honcho himself, Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. Kingpin, as owner and operator of the Daily Bugle, has been working with the Maker's Council to control the spread of information in their favor, which means he's the first domino that must be toppled to end their regime. Plus, Mary Jane holds her own. Enough said, it says. Throughout the Ultimate Spider-Man, Checchetto delivers masterful new approaches to iconic villains, and fans can check out his original design sheet for Ultimate Bullseye, who will make his mark in the series starting in this month's issue #3, which I can't wait for. That's going to be cool, so we'll check that out there. And then we move on to the Black Panther book. Black Panther must take back Wakanda. It's kind of spoilers, so sorry. By any means necessary, and Brian Hill and guest artist Carlos Nieto's Ultimate Black Panther #5 T'Challa, Killmonger, and Storm arrive in Wakanda so T'Challa can reclaim the throne. And actually, seeing that, it's not going to give you a lot of spoilers, maybe, but the idea where I'm actually excited, because one of the things that I was worried is that we're going to play mystery box with this whole mystery of who is the mole, who is trying to finagle things. This shows that we will find that out fairly quickly. I'm glad for that. I'm glad because you have a mystery being set up in the first couple of issues of Black Panther. There's not that many characters in a universe that we really don't know the changes and things like that, really. We don't know all that. So I was really worried that we are going to, let this hang, but it looks like we're going to find out fairly quickly. But what do the Voodoo Khan, the mysterious mystical branch of the Dora Milaje, have waiting for him? Plagued by an ominous prophecy, Black Panther must embark on a spiritual journey, as one does. And then finally, we meet more New Mutants in Peach Momoko's Ultimate X-Men #4. And when I saw this headline come across, and I actually saw the solicits as well, I was hoping to see names like a Wolverine, maybe, or maybe a Cyclops, or maybe, something like that. But it's not quite that. But we do have Storm in the Black Panther book, right? Hiseko and May's classmate Nico has figured out that these two girls possess unusual abilities, but they're not the only ones. Hiseko's world gets a whole lot bigger in Ultimate X-Men #4, with exciting versions of existing Marvel heroes like fan-favorite X-Men Surge and Nico Minoru of the Runaways. That's why I said it kind of does feel like it's going towards that young hero Runaways type play, especially with this world being run by villains. They're kind of on the run, so we'll see how it plays out. Again, this intrigues me, and this gets me excited. I think that it's going to end up where people who don't like the book are going to continue to say, well, I don't really need, different exciting versions, and I don't really need Nico Minoru of the Runaways, but we'll see. Momoko will also introduce brand new original mutant characters named Mori and Natsu. Fans can see Momoko's design sheets for all 4 characters debuting in Ultimate X-Men #4, while the issue's cover offers a peek at yet another upcoming character to be introduced in the near future. So we end up where, again, I'm excited to see the Ultimates. I'm excited to see the team there, but it's going to be a little different. I mean, everything's going to be a little different at first, but I do like where they spell out that the other characters, Captain America, Doom, Thor, and Sif, they've been working at bringing some other characters back. That's what we kind of need here. As you go forward with new books, I don't want to start at square one each time, like a Spider-Man, especially, or even an X-Men. You kind of have to get things going. And if you do have an Ultimate, since as these new books go, maybe I did say that the X-Men book, maybe you should have waited a little, kind of let that go when there's a bunch going on. And then that could be its own little side thing, because it still does feel like that. But you are getting more characters. And eventually, since these are really young kids for the most part, maybe this leads then, I'm not saying Xavier, but somebody to decide that they have to be taken care of. Maybe they have to be taught. Maybe that's where we start gathering up the X-Men and the team. But I can't say that it's ever going to be the classic team because of the way this has changed, and maybe we'll find out what happened to the classic characters and where they are, what they're doing, what's going on in this universe. But it's going to take a lot of people to bring down the makers, overall from the Shadows Council. But that's kind of exciting. I would think that we're going to build this up to maybe like an event, in-universe event of bringing them down, and then we go forward. But one of the things that I have been thinking about and mulling over in my mind is that idea of, was it a good idea to start with a backstory type thing with the maker changing the world? Or maybe you could have just kind of gone with the classic Ultimate deal of, hey, everybody, this is good jumping on point for everybody. If you're not dealing with the regular books, the continuity's got you down, let's go. I know that is just more of the same of the last, and maybe they were afraid that people would still then, well, why didn't you just continue from there? This whole thing kind of was going around in my mind of what I would like. I even put up a poll, though, about whether or not people had read the whole Ultimate Invasion, Ultimate Universe stuff, and it seemed half and half. And is that enough, though, for this intricate, I mean, I'm telling you, this intricate and mysterious backstory, because we don't know what's going on. Even people who read that stuff, we don't know the lay of the land of this whole planet and what it means to all the different heroes and things. We're kind of seeing little tidbits of it as it goes. And I think that people will hang on with books like a Spider-Man, hopefully the Ultimates. I think you'd notch it down a little with Black Panther and then notch it down even more with this X-Men by Peach Momoko. But I'm enjoying all of them. So I'm in for all of them. I don't mind, waiting things out a bit because they have been enjoyable, as individual series and issues so far. But we'll see. We'll see. But we're adding on with the Ultimates, and that's kind of exciting. But let me know. Let me know if these, really what I'm centering on a lot is the X-Men stuff, because that's the one that people are divided on the most. And I don't think that these characters are going to get people except, but at least there's more added on. But tell me if you think the Black Panther thing seems cool and the idea of what's going on in Ultimate Spider-Man. In a side news, they had already announced, I was going to do a little news item, but then this came across that we're going to get Gwen Stacy showing up. And that's kind of a crazy play as well. So, yeah, let me know. Let me know if you're still into it. Let me know what would get you into a book that you're not into. Or if something in this points out, ooh, I've been liking something. It's still pretty early, but maybe something has put up some red flags for a book that you didn't expect. But let me know in the comments, and I will talk to you later.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.